Imagine stealing from your own company. Not thousands, not millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and spending it on parties, penthouses, paintings, and a $6,000 shower curtain. While your shareholders had no idea, while your employees trusted you with their futures, while your board of directors looked the other way. This is the story of Tyco International, and the CEO who treated one of America's largest corporations like his personal piggy bank. Tyco International was not a small company. By the late 1990s, Tyco was a massive conglomerate, operating in over 100 countries, making everything from fire suppression systems to medical devices to security equipment, employing over 240,000 people worldwide, generating over $36 billion in annual revenue. It was a powerhouse, a Fortune 500 giant, a company that institutional investors trusted with billions. And at the center of it all was one man, Dennis Kozlowski. Kozlowski grew up working class in Newark, New Jersey. His father was a police detective. His family had no wealth, no connections, no privilege. But Kozlowski was driven by something deep and consuming, a burning desire to be rich, to be powerful, to be somebody. He joined Tyco in 1975 as an auditor. He was meticulous, aggressive, relentlessly ambitious. He climbed the corporate ladder with ruthless efficiency. And in 1992, he was named CEO of Tyco International. Kozlowski had arrived, and now he intended to enjoy every single second of it. In the beginning, Kozlowski was celebrated as a genius. He grew Tyco aggressively through acquisitions, buying up companies, expanding into new markets, driving revenue higher year after year. Wall Street loved him. Analysts called him one of the greatest CEOs in America. Fortune magazine put him on their covers. His compensation package was enormous. Hundreds of millions of dollars in salary, bonuses, and stock options. Legitimate money, legal money. But it was not enough, because Kozlowski did not just want to be rich. He wanted to live like a king, and he was willing to steal to do it. The looting began quietly. Kozlowski and his CFO, Mark Schwartz, discovered a way to extract money from Tyco without reporting it to shareholders. They used a company program called the Key Employee Loan Program. It was designed to help executives pay taxes on their stock compensation. Legitimate on its face. But Kozlowski and Schwartz turned it into a personal ATM. They borrowed hundreds of millions of dollars from the company, and then quietly had those loans forgiven. Not repaid. Forgiven. Money that simply disappeared from the company's books into their personal bank accounts. And they used that money to fund a lifestyle so lavish, so obscene, that when it finally came to light, it became one of the most infamous stories in corporate history. Let's talk about the spending, because this is where the Tyco story becomes almost unbelievable. Kozlowski spent $2 million on a birthday party for his wife on the island of Sardinia. The company paid for half of it, $1 million of shareholder money, spent on a party with an ice sculpture of Michelangelo's David urinating vodka. He purchased a $15 million apartment on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, furnished entirely on Tyco's dime, $60,000 area rugs, $15,000 umbrella stands, a $6,000 shower curtain, $17,000 traveling toilet box. All paid for by Tyco, all charged to the company as business expenses. He purchased a $1.65 million Renoir painting using company funds. He bought a $5 million collection of fine art for his apartment. He paid for his housekeeper, his chef, his personal assistant, all on Tyco's corporate accounts. And while Kozlowski was living this fantasy, the company's board of directors was asleep at the wheel. They approved compensation packages without scrutinizing the details. They signed off on loan programs without monitoring how the money was used. They collected their own generous board fees. And they asked very few questions. Because when the stock price is going up, when the quarterly numbers look strong, nobody wants to look too hard at how the sausage is made. But in 2002, the sausage started to smell. A New York grand jury had been investigating Kozlowski on an unrelated matter. sales tax evasion on art purchases. It was a small charge compared to what was about to come out, but it triggered a deeper investigation. Prosecutors started digging into Tyco's financial records, and what they found was staggering. Over $400 million looted from the company. Through unauthorized bonuses, forgiven loans, fraudulent expense accounts, $400 million taken from shareholders, from employees, from the company itself, and spent on parties, paintings, and shower curtains. When the news broke, Tyco's stock price collapsed. Billions in market value evaporated overnight. Investors who had trusted Kozlowski's leadership watched their investments crumble. Employees whose retirement accounts held Tyco stock saw their futures disappear. And Dennis Kozlowski, the man from Newark who wanted to be somebody, was arrested, charged with grand larceny, conspiracy, securities fraud. His CFO, Mark Schwartz, was arrested alongside him. The trial of Dennis Kozlowski became a national spectacle. The details of his spending were so outrageous, so disconnected from reality, that ordinary Americans could barely comprehend it. A $6,000 shower curtain, in a bathroom paid for by shareholders, in an apartment filled with art paid for by shareholders, at a party funded by shareholders. Kozlowski's defense was that the board had approved everything, that the compensation was legitimate, that the loans were authorized. The jury disagreed. In June 2005, Dennis Kozlowski was found guilty on 22 counts of grand larceny and securities fraud. He was sentenced to 8 to 25 years in state prison. Mark Schwartz received the same sentence. Kozlowski served about 6 years before being released on parole in 2014. He walked out of prison. He lost his fortune. He lost his reputation. He lost everything he had stolen. But the employees of Tyco, the investors who trusted the company, the shareholders whose money funded that lifestyle, they lost something Kozlowski could never give back: their trust, their savings, their faith in the people who were supposed to be leading with integrity. Tyco International survived the scandal. It was restructured, broken up into separate companies. The Tyco name still exists today in the security industry, but the legacy of Dennis Kozlowski hangs over the company's history like a dark cloud. A reminder of what happens when unchecked power meets unlimited greed, when boards fail to do their jobs, when executives are allowed to operate without accountability, when a company's money becomes one man's personal playground. The Tyco scandal is not just a story about theft. It is a story about what happens when power goes completely unchecked, when the people at the top surround themselves with yes men, when boards are too comfortable to ask hard questions, when greed consumes everything in its path. Dennis Kozlowski did not start out as a criminal. He started out as an ambitious kid from Newark who wanted to make something of himself. But somewhere along the way, the ambition became corruption, the success became entitlement, and the entitlement became theft. This is Boardroom Fallout, where billion-dollar lies come to light. Next up, Arthur Andersen, the 89-year-old accounting firm that survived 2 world wars and the Great Depression, but could not survive the truth about what they did for Enron and WorldCom. See the full episode on Boardroom Fallout.